What is up, guys? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, today's first story comes from Extra Mind 364 and says, "Husband is going on a trip with another woman, and I need reassurances." Hello, all. My husband occasionally travels for work, and next week he has to attend a conference in Budapest. Nothing out of the ordinary except one of his colleagues will accompany him, and this colleague is freshly divorced, very attractive younger woman. I don't like this woman because I believe she kinda has eyes on my husband. When he brought me as his plus one to a work dinner, she wouldn't stop complimenting him, which is fine for me, within limits, but also made some jokes to me to call her if I ever needed someone to take him out of my hands for the day, or if I can lend him to her. This left a bitter taste in my mouth, and when I told my husband about it, he said he will talk to her and ask her to tone it down. But still, he complained a couple of times that this lady sticks to him like hot glue when she has the occasion, and when he and the team go out to eat, she insists to carpool with him. And now they have this trip together and I'm uncomfortable. I trust my husband, but I'm afraid that this woman might try to pull something. My husband listened to my concerns and proposed I could come along, if it can help. And this sounds like the perfect solution. But I too have my work stuff to attend to, and I'm afraid if I come along, I might come off as insecure and jealous, and distrustful of my husband. What do I do? My husband reassured me and offered a solution, but I am still undecided. And I would trust your husband to make the right choices in this situation. Like you said, he offered you a solution. He isn't backing down. He's not being cagey about anything. He sounds very open about what's going on. But at the same time, he offered you to go. So if you can take that time, go with him. Enjoy it. Why not? But Strike Match says the fact that your husband has listened to your concerns and offered real solutions speaks volumes. Trust him to handle things on his end because it sounds like he will. It also honestly sounds like he's being sexually harassed, so be ready to be in his corner if this woman pushes the limit and things come to a head. Opie says she is his superior too, and I feel like this is part of the problem. She's not exactly his boss, but she's one step above him. Drawing replies and says, the old up and to the left org chart. Opie responds to him basically, it's something of a local branch and main branch. Husband is local branch and his title would be theoretically superior. But she is from the main branch, and even if she has a lower title, she is in the upper echelon, and this makes her his superior. TLF says trust him, he sounds like a stand-up guy. He's probably trying to sidestep the issue because he may fear job loss or lower chances of promotion if he directly calls her out. But he should know that sexual harassment and creating a hostile work environment are grounds for a lawsuit if the company fails to address the matter. He should start looking for a new job in case things go south, but reporting her to HR would be the first step. If he has any documented evidence, voicemails, emails, text messages, it will make for a stronger case. But also, anyone who has heard her make comments and is willing to be a witness may help. And one more comment from Grumpy who says he offered you to join. Do it. Why not have a nice time with your husband? That way he won't be alone at night. Try a different approach, talk about her marriage, what happened, ruin her evening. Talk to her about Tinder and Bumble. Tell her how you hope she finds happiness and real love. Or talk about work, and whenever she gives your husband a compliment, look at her like she said something completely irrelevant and keep talking about whatever you were talking about. If you don't want to go, set up boundaries with him. He goes back to his room at a time where you two can have a phone call together and go to sleep together. She can't come to his room and he can't go to hers. No alcohol. Would that help? Not sure I agree with that last bit of that comment. Obviously, her going to his room is a no-no. That's an obvious one, right? But having to go to your room so you can call and fall asleep together sounds nice, but it also sounds a bit controlling, like no alcohol as well. Again, these sort of things make sense, but it comes across as a bit controlling to me if you was to say that to him. Like you can't trust him kind of thing. Be interesting to know what your thoughts are on that one. Like I say every once in a while, because some people seem to think that I think my answer's always right, and I certainly don't. Like I've told you before, I learn a lot from these stories about behaviors and stuff like that, so it'd be interesting to know your thoughts on this one as well. But OP comes in with her update and says, "Hello all, me again. I ended up not going to the trip with my husband because I had a family emergency. Husband offered to take a sick leave, but I was against it and told him I trust him and his common sense. Getting straight to the point, you guys were right, and his superior, the woman, made her move. They were having dinner at the hotel restaurant when she started playing footsie and rubbed her foot on his leg. This made my husband uncomfortable and he asked her to stop, to which she replied something along the lines of, "Make me," and husband left dinner. She came to his room an hour late. Meanwhile, he'd already called me to inform me about what happened at dinner, because she wanted to apologize. My husband tried to keep her at the door, but she pushed her way in and sat on his bed. My husband tried to get her out, but she literally lunged at him to try and kiss him and saying it would be only tonight, because she saw he was undressing her with his eyes every day before actually starting to undress herself. My husband tried to leave the room and she started to cry and apologize. She begged my husband not to leave her because she only needs someone to talk to. She dressed back and went down to the lobby to talk. Husband wouldn't trust her anymore to be alone with him. Again, she apologized. She said she just feels lonely and really wants someone like my husband. Husband consoled her a bit, but also told her he won't be comfortable anymore to be with her one-on-one, and that he would tell me. She agreed, asked for a hug, which my husband conceded, and left. The day after, her whole attitude made a 180 turn. She acted cold and distant with my husband in work situations and called him by surname. Today, they were supposed to get back in office, but my husband took PTO and she took sick leave. My husband is now worried he might be facing retaliation. I believe him and his account of the events, and I think he handled it well, except maybe giving her a hug, and I'll be standing with him if she tries something. I'll update when something worthwhile happens. For now, we'll try to enjoy our weekend without thinking about this. Now, my first thought on the back of this one was like, you need to talk to HR before she does, but there was comments, and probably rightly so. Like I said, I don't know any of the legal stuff here, but someone says lawyer, then HR, because corporate rug sweeping is real. But absolutely, this is sexual harassment. But there was other suggestions in the comments, trying to get maybe CCTV from around the hotel leading up to the event, talking to the staff to try and get additional information. I just find it's incredibly sad that you're just trying to go about your job and then this kind of shit happens, and then it creates a whole bunch of worries about you because someone is actually harassing you. It's messed up. So OP came in with another update and said, "Hello guys, I just wanted to update you on our situation. Husband went to HR on Tuesday, and it seems like they took his concerns seriously. It helped that he gathered some co-workers willing to testify on his behalf and how this woman was being too friendly to him. But the real big news is that someone from another office approached my husband, and hearsay is that the woman got transferred to my husband's branch exactly because she got inappropriate with her downlines. Word is that she at least made very forceful advances to another man, and a woman too. I admit, I am relieved that this woman has history, and this made it more likely for my husband to be believed. But I'm so pissed off because this person seemingly got off each time with a slap on the wrist. She's a predator, and yet she never faced any serious consequence. Her sick leave has been extended, and she let her team know she's getting back the week after next week. Husband is doing well, but is a bit of a mess at times. He blames himself for everything that happened, and worse, he says he has cheated on me. He also said he's been having nightmares of having sex with her. I have to reassure him he did everything right and he's not to blame here. He's decided to take some vacation days next week to rest and recuperate from the stress, and I'm looking forward to spending some quality time with him. We'll be alright. I know it." So she's had this predatory behavior with other people, but hasn't been sacked, but keeps getting transferred. What the fuck's going on? And there was a lot of comments below this one, a lot of people saying, yuck, she's sort of like a predator. Other people still saying, consult with an attorney just to be on the safe side. Glad that the husband was transparent about it all and that things seem to be moving in the right direction. Other people questioning if she's going to get sacked or not. To which OP said, "I don't know what will happen to her and I don't think HR will tell my husband, but I think it's pretty telling she's hiding behind sick leave." My thoughts is, does that mean she's going to get sacked or is she just going to get transferred to another department? I don't understand, anyone who had a company. I know there's, procedures in place. I guess companies have to be careful about certain things, but surely if they've shown this behavior time and time again, been transferred, they gotta go. It seems the husband's been left pretty messed up after this. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit from application large 2625 and says, am I the arsehole for giving my daughter a breakdown of what it cost to raise her when she asked me for her university funds? My daughter, Ava, was a handful growing up. Her dad passed away when she was 5, and even with therapy, she was a very angry child. I still love her very much. She is my daughter and I would do anything for her that I can. Her dad didn't have a lot of insurance, but enough to pay off a small house and set aside an emergency fund and top up my daughter's 529 education fund. I kept adding to it over the years. Not much, but as I could. When she was 11, I met and married my husband. I thought Ava was okay with it. She never brought up any problems to me or in our therapy sessions. She was not. When she was 13, she accused him of something inappropriate. I called the cops immediately. He was arrested and he lost his job. He was innocent. She did it to get rid of him. We divorced. I was obviously heartbroken. I did my best not to take it out on her. I did punish her. She started acting out. She got expelled from school, then another. I ended up having to send her to a private school. Even with a voucher, it was expensive. It worked though. She's graduating this year with honors and a scholarship. She asked me about the money in her account. I said it was all gone. She got very upset because her scholarship won't cover all costs. Even with financial aid, she will still be paying a fair amount. I said I would co-sign a student loan for what she needs. She said that she wanted to know where the money went that I wasted. So I got out a pen and paper and I wrote it all down. The cost of my divorce, the rising cost of living that I paid for by myself since I didn't have a partner, her tuition and fees for private school. By the end, she was crying and saying that I was blaming her for everything. I never have. I did punish her for the trouble she caused with my ex, but I think that was reasonable. She's upset that she will have to take out a loan. I also made it very clear that I would not be responsible for paying it back. She thinks I'm being cruel by saying that she is responsible for stupid things she did as a child. I'm not, but I cannot pull the money I had to spend because of her out of my ass. One commenter asks about the ex and says, not the arsehole. I'm sorry for your ex. I hope he has recovered from the lie and is doing well. She asked what happened to the money and you showed her. There are consequences and she is now facing them. Unfortunately, no matter what you do, she will find a way to blame you. Try to get her back into counseling if she agrees. Just know you did nothing wrong and take care of yourself as well. Opie says my ex is okay. We still talk. He got a new job. He is still angry. He wants nothing to do with her. Someone asks OP, did she admit the abuse accusation was untrue? OP says yes. Another commenter says, not the arsehole, at 13, your daughter would have had known the possible ramifications of her actions. Maybe not the financial ones, but definitely the legal ones. OP says she knew what she was doing. Another commenter says, how would you know your ex-husband was innocent? OP says the police investigated. The charges were dropped for lack of evidence. Also, there was evidence that what she claimed was impossible. I will give one example. My ex worked in his truck. She claimed he come home during the day. His truck had a tracker from his employer and a camera that showed he was on the other side of the city. Another commenter says, if you co-sign for a loan, you could end up being responsible for paying it back. Another one replies to that and says this, co-signing means you put your credit history on the line to help her get approved for the loans. And in the event she defaults, you become responsible. Do not do this if you do not intend to ensure she can make her payments. The OP did update their post and they said, thank you all for your comments. Even the ones where you called me a raving bitch for calling the cops after my daughter's allegations. First, my ex was completely cleared. He was never home at the time she alleged the sexual assault. We have security cameras in my house. There are exactly 0 videos of him entering a room or being inappropriate with her in the common areas. I've already commented on the other evidence that got the charges against my ex dropped. She admitted the truth and said she was doing it to get him out of our house. He is doing okay now. He has a new job and he and I still talk. Her excuse was that she didn't think I would immediately call the cops. She thought I would just kick him out since it's my house. She felt trapped and like she couldn't back down. She had never apologized to him. She's been in therapy since she was 5, both on her own and with me. To my knowledge, she never mentioned anything about sexual assault to her therapist, and they are mandatory reporters. Second, I told her I will not be co-signing her loans. I told her that I will be backing her up and doing my best to make sure she does not default, but I'm not risking my home or my future for her. She fully understands now where her savings went. She's upset with herself mostly now. She realizes that the private school was my last choice and only necessary because of choices she made. Thank you all for your help. Dissolved Dreams quotes the part where it says, "My ex was completely cleared," and then says, "But the shame never goes away." What an absolute scary situation. Look, I don't blame OP for believing her child. Of course you're going to believe your child when they're making accusations this serious. But then to discover it's lies, destroy your marriage, destroy his life. And from what I'm reading in this post, obviously I don't 100% know, but it feels like there's no remorse for that either. It just feels like, it's just something that happened in my past. It just feels like she's not remorseful for it at all. She's not apologetic, doesn't really care. Like the commenter says, that kind of accusation follows you around. I've seen it in the UK that someone was accused of this, but then when they was innocent, that info didn't get around, so they were still being hounded about it. But the feelings I was getting from this daughter from just reading this post, again, this is all in text format, so I don't know if I'm reading it the right way or not, but it just felt cold. It felt scary. I know she was 13 at the time, but to make that kind of accusation? Whew-wee. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to one more story. And our next story is an Am I the Arsehole question from our very own subreddit, r/Mark Narrations, from Zesty Closed Door 5197. It says, "Am I the arsehole for not giving my maid of honor a +1 at my engagement party and wedding? My maid of honor, 26 female, and I, 26 female, have been friends for 20 years now. For the last 5 years or so, she has been in and out of toxic relationship after toxic relationship after toxic relationship. She doesn't really tell me what's going on after I called her an idiot for going out with a drug dealer 4 relationships ago. Anyway, I'm getting married next March to the love of my life. This June, I'm having an engagement party. My maid of honor found out my other bridesmaids will have a +1, but I'm not giving her one. She told one of our other friends that this isn't fair, that she's been singled out and I should at least let her bring the guy she is currently dating to the engagement party because it's at a park pavilion. I understand why she's upset, but I don't want some rando at my life event. Plus, other bridesmaids have been with their partners for 2+ years. She's only been with this guy a couple of months, and I have met them. Also, the only reason I know she is dating someone is because our other friend mentioned they were dating. She has said nothing about him to me. I haven't met this man. She hasn't even posted him on social media or anything. My other friend said maybe I should let her bring him because it would be nice and she wouldn't be alone. I don't agree because she knows 90% of the people who will be at the party. Plus, I invited people from her family to be at the party, so there is no way she'll be alone. I just feel like if he is not important enough for me to know he exists from her, he's not important enough for me to pay $200 plus in food and entertainment for my wedding events. Am I the arsehole for not letting her have a +1 to my wedding events? Now, I get where you're coming from, that you don't want randoms or whatever at your wedding. You don't want drug dealers at your wedding or someone that's potentially toxic, right? I get it, but I assume you value this friendship quite a lot. 20 years, she's your maid of honor. Yes, it sounds like she's had some shitty relationships, but I think if you continue doing this, especially with everyone else getting a +1, you're just alienating your friend. I think if no one was getting a +1, fair enough. And this is purely from my point of view. If I was arranging this wedding and I singled out one person and said, like, you're the only one who can't bring a +1, I think, yeah, it's going to fuck this friendship up, basically. And you mentioned, like, the timings of the relationship that, they've been with their partner for 2+ years. Maid of Honor's only been with her partner a couple of months. And if you start with that sort of stuff, it becomes even more complicated. It just sounds like an admin nightmare, something that I wouldn't want to be dealing with on my wedding. I would want it to be smooth as possible. Yeah, there's a little bit of a cost to plate this person's food. Is it worth the stress? That's what I'd ask myself. Is it worth the stress to worry about this? I mean, what's this person going to do at your wedding? What can they do? I can just see the OP coming back in a couple of months' time saying, Mark, why did you tell me to let this person in the wedding? They fucked up the whole thing. Seriously, OP, you do you. I'm just some arsehole on the internet. But Path Advance says not the arsehole. I had the same rule. No randos, no partners that didn't know both of us. Nurse Penguin says, look, I can understand not wanting a drug dealer at your wedding, but this whole only people who've been dating for X amount of years thing is a slippery slope when it comes to the wedding party. She is definitely going to feel singled out if she's the only solo. Why not get to know the person and see if they're a decent person? Let her know she can bring a friend, and if you like them, it can be him, depending on the seating arrangements. If you seat the wedding party with their plus ones and she is solo, it's going to be kind of shitty for her to be alone. Gossy Girl says, I think it's really rude not to invite plus ones unless they're acquaintances or co-workers. To not invite a plus one for someone in your wedding party is just the epitome of rudeness regardless of the reason. The fact that everyone else got one, that would be enough for me to walk away from the friendship. Now, what would you advise to OP in this situation? Maybe you agree with OP and wouldn't want them to have a plus one because of the past history of the relationships. Maybe you think differently on the matter. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.